Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Giving Tuesday. I am thrilled to welcome you to this special edition of Noontime Knowledge. My name is Greta Hall. I'm the Director of Annual Giving here at Penn State, and it is wonderful to have so many Penn Staters with us here today, and even more wonderful that this event was scheduled virtually, considering the winter weather we are having in Happy Valley today. But to the volunteers, donors, students, alumni, staff, and friends from across the country, thank you for joining us today. Today, we're celebrating one of my favorite days of the year. Giving Tuesday is an opportunity for the entire Penn State family to come together and make a difference through philanthropy and participation. Penn State has been a part of the Giving Tuesday movement since 2015. For those of you doing the math, this is our 11th Giving Tuesday celebration. And in that time, we have seen incredible impact. Thousands of donors supporting hundreds of causes across our campuses. Each year, this day grows stronger. No pressure for this year, though. And it is fueled by the passion and creativity of our students and campus partners. Today's session will give you a glimpse behind the scenes of a few of those efforts, campaigns that embody the heart of what Giving Tuesday is all about: community, compassion, and impact. You'll hear from student organizations and university programs leading efforts that touch lives, inspire others, and show the power of Penn Staters united for good. We'll hear from 3 campaigns this afternoon: our Moving On Scholarship Award, Thon, and the Student Emergency Fund. Each of these initiatives represents a different aspect of our shared Penn State story: leadership, hope, and care for one another. Towards the end of our session today, there will be time for questions to be asked of our presenters. If you have questions about their specific campaigns or about how to get involved or about Giving Tuesday in general, please utilize the Q&A feature that is available to you on the webinar. Now, let's begin with our first presentation. Our first presenter represents Moving On, Penn State's long-running student music festival. This year, their focus extends beyond the stage, with the creation of the Moving On Leadership Award Endowment, a scholarship that recognizes and supports the student leaders who make this iconic event possible. Please welcome Executive Director Ali Regal to share more about the campaign.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ali Regal. I'm the Executive Director of Moving On 2026, and I'm incredibly excited to be here today to introduce to you the Moving On Leadership Scholarship, a fund with the mission of giving back to our students and future leaders in the music and entertainment industries. Now, before I get into it, I first want to start by introducing to you what exactly Moving On is and how its impact has moved generations of students. Moving On is Penn State's entirely student-run music festival, a longtime university tradition, now in its 51st year. Our festival has become one of the top 5 largest student-run festivals in the nation and is widely recognized throughout the entertainment industry for our innovation and commitment to reshaping how college shows are viewed by the industry and professionals. At its core, Moving On is a no-cost, substance-free celebration intended to celebrate the end of the academic year and to wish off students who are moving on with their time here at Penn State or beyond. We bring a day of multi-genre music and unique activities that create community, memories, and passion, both for students who are behind the scenes creating the festival each year and those who continue to support us and attend the festival. Hopefully, during your time at Penn State, you had the opportunity of attending Moving On as a student and were able to leave with happy memories and great times that you had been able to attend. And I encourage you to try thinking back on those memories today. Now, at our core, we are a festival made for students by students. As I mentioned before, Moving On is completely student-run. We have over 80 members ranging from our executive board to core committee to promo team. And the magic that Moving On is able to create each year would absolutely not be possible without the talent and dedication and passion that our students bring each and every year. And I cannot wait to talk to you all with how we hope to give back to them via our scholarship. Now, onto the very important part, why I'm here with you all today. Today, I present to you the Moving On Leadership Scholarship. For a little bit of context, back in 2024, Moving On was presented with a really unique opportunity of receiving $25,000 from an anonymous donor. This was presented to us by country artist Luke Combs, and essentially, this donation allowed for us to kickstart our dream of creating a student-focused scholarship fund that would go directly back to our student members. The goal of our scholarship is to support students who demonstrate exceptional leadership potential, and reflecting our commitment to building the next generation of innovators and leaders in our industries. We hope that recipients of this fund are able to use it to gain invaluable industry experience outside of their time with Moving On, as well as financial support throughout their education at Penn State. Now, since 1975, Moving On has been so much more than just a music festival. It's been a transformative experience where Penn State students have the opportunity of working alongside industry professionals and gaining one-of-a-kind leadership skills and real-world expertise. I can promise you that what students get to do with Moving On when it comes to producing it and building it each year and being involved is not something that you will find at any other university in this nation, or any other student-run festival. That is why we are so unique in sort of a one-of-a-kind organization and festival. Students get hands-on opportunities that provide our members with the absolute best experience that they can get while being on campus, and is essentially what will set them apart when it comes time to applying for internships and jobs that will tee up their own careers. For 51 years, our festival has been celebrated for its remarkable scale and quality, thanks to the passion and dedication of our student leaders. And these are the very people who have allowed for Moving On to continue to grow and become more impressive each year that passes by. Our students work incredibly hard to build Moving On from the ground up, both literally and figuratively, which is an experience that most people wouldn't be able to truly understand unless experienced firsthand, and is why we want to give back to our students so badly. Now, I could read all of these testimonials to you from our past students, but instead, I would like to share my own experience with Moving On and why I'm fighting to raise the remaining $25,000 needed to establish our scholarship. So my story is that I came to Penn State initially with the intention of transferring out. I started my first year not knowing anyone, what I wanted to do with my life, not having a purpose and the spark that I once used to have. That intention of leaving stayed with me for a really long time. That was until I came across this organization called Moving On. And as soon as I joined, something changed in me, and a spark was sort of ignited. And I finally found that motivation and purpose that I had sort of been searching for so many months. And since then, that spark has never once dimmed. And my love for this festival and industry has only grown, along with my confidence in the past 3.5 years. And it's because of Moving On that I found out that working in the music industry was not so impossible after all, even though it is a really challenging industry to break into. And because of Moving On, I have had so much access to incredibly life-changing opportunities to advance my career, and has ultimately led me to the career path that I plan to graduate this spring. I want the scholarship to be established so badly because I want it to provide students who are feeling how I felt 3 years ago with the same opportunities to find their spark. I want Penn State to become a place where music professionals go when they want the best and brightest, specifically from Moving On. And having the scholarship available for students would allow for them to get out of their comfort zone, grow into themselves, and just explore. My hope for this scholarship is that students are able to do things such as relocating to major music cities like New York or Los Angeles, and working for major companies that will give them the opportunity to explore themselves and their aspirations, and giving them the best hands-on experience that this industry can offer. Um, Relocating for a career opportunity is something I personally wish I had a little bit more access to, because I know the importance that it has on growing someone's career. And it's a driving force as to why I want to be able to provide our student leaders with this opportunity. I do this with the campaign, and everything with trying to raise money for our scholarship, because I want future students to have access to any opportunities that they set their minds to and truly shoot for the stars. Now, as we come to the end of our time here together, I want to share our overall goal with you all one last time. With your support, our goal is to raise the remaining $25,000 needed to establish our endowment into the official Moving On Leadership Scholarship. This would ultimately allow us to give back to the very students who give their everything to Moving On each year. Now, together, we can ensure that Moving On continues to inspire students to reach their full potential, shoot for the stars, and leave a lasting impact on the music industry, Penn State community, and beyond. So much for taking the time to be here today and for your continued support in being a part of this incredible festival community that I love so dearly. And I invite you all to join us in making a lasting impact on the lives of these promising students and turning our vision into a reality. To donate or to learn more about the Moving On Leadership Scholarship, please either follow this QR code or you can find us on the list of campaigns for Giving Tuesday 2025. Thank you so much.
Allie, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know I have goosebumps sitting here listening a little bit about your journey, but it's really inspiring to see how Moving On is ensuring its legacy lives on, not just through music, but through philanthropy that supports future student leaders. As Ali said, if you would like to help the Moving On organization reach their goal of $25,000, scan the QR code or visit givingtuesday.psu.edu and find Moving On under the student organization category or by utilizing the search feature. Next, we'll turn to one of the most recognizable and inspiring traditions at Penn State, Thon. Each year, thousands of students, volunteers, and supporters unite in the fight against childhood cancer, raising millions of dollars for the kids. Please join me in welcoming Jeffrey Walsh, Thon's Director of Development, and Ben Reutman, Thon's Executive Director, to share more about their Giving Tuesday efforts and how they're carrying this mission forward.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're super excited to share a little bit more about our organization mission and our Giving Tuesday specific efforts. Like Greta said, my name is Ben Reutman, and I'm this year's Executive Director. I'm joined by Jeffrey Walsh. He's our Development Director this year. And to start off, we just wanted to share our recap video, which highlights our efforts from last year and really captures the magic and emotion of Thon Weekend.
We lost so much in the fire of time, but something about you has got me feeling alive. There must be magic inside your bones. When I get lost here, I'm not alone. 4, 3, 2, 1. You feel like home. You feel like home. You feel like home. You feel like when we go without, this love gets us by. When the table is empty, you bring out the wine. There must be magic inside your bones. When I get lost here, I'm not alone. You feel like home. 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 You feel like home.
And finally, the total for Thon 2025, A Home for Hope is $17,739,40.93.
I really love the video that the students on our production committees put together for that. I think it really captures the range of emotions experienced that Thon weekend and the wide range of support that we see through all parties at Penn State. Are we frozen?
We can start talking about some. Oh, wait, there we go. So, hi everyone. Like Ben said, my name is Jeffrey Walsh. I'm the development director for this year. So I'll talk a little bit about what Thon is. For me personally, I think in that video you hear a lot of the word home. That was part of the theme for last year, A Home for Hope. This year, our theme is Love Leads Forward, and I think home and love are two words that really encapsulate what Thon has meant to me and a lot of other student volunteers in their time at Penn State. When I came to Penn State, obviously a lot of students don't know exactly what they want to get involved in, but when I joined Thon, I think I immediately was able to feel like I had found a home and met a lot of people that showed true, genuine love for one another and wanted to see each other do well. So that's one reason why I Thon and why I love this organization so much. So a little bit of background about Thon. So we're the largest student-run philanthropy in the world. We have 16,500 student volunteers that raise awareness and funds all year long for our sole beneficiary, Four Diamonds at Penn State Health Children's Hospital in Hershey, PA. So Thon is a year-long effort, but these efforts culminate in a 46-hour, no sitting, no sleeping dance marathon held in the Bryce Jordan Center. And in 2025, Thon raised over $17.7 million, and Thon weekend had an attendance of over 28,000 people. Our live stream also attracted over 200,000 unique viewers from 49 states and 80 countries.
Like Jeffrey mentioned, we raised over $17.7 million last year. That mark brought us to a milestone of over $250 million raised since our pairing with Four Diamonds as our sole beneficiary in 1977, which is a really astounding mark and a true testament to the commitment over time of Penn Staters in support of our families. We've supported over 4,800 families to ensure that they've never seen a bill for their treatment. Over social media, we have a wide reach now with over 254,000 combined followers across platforms, garnering over 180 million social media impressions. You heard Jeffrey mention the 16,500 volunteers. We also have 25,000 plus alumni supporters and over 400 different student organizations that are all working together for the kids and for our mission.
So one question we commonly get is, where does the money go? So the money goes to our sole beneficiary, Four Diamonds, and Four Diamonds assists families to conquer childhood cancer by assisting children and their families through superior care, comprehensive support, and innovative research. 96 cents of every dollar raised by Thon goes directly to Four Diamonds. And I know sometimes comprehensive support could seem really broad, so some of this includes music therapy, art therapy, and dedicated nutritionists for the children and families impacted by childhood cancer.
I'll add here that pictured there is Dr. Giselle Scholler. She does some really, really incredible work and leads a consortium about childhood cancer research and has opened up some really awesome clinical trials specifically focused on neuroblastoma. So Dr. Scholler is one of the researchers who receives support from Four Diamonds, and she does some really incredible work over in Hershey.
Yeah, so something we wanted to highlight, and it's still going on today, even with a little bit of snow, pushing the start time back a little bit, but our Giving Tuesday event. So this is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson, who are generous enough to provide donation matching funds for us. This allows donors to maximize their impact throughout the day. We also have in-person student engagement. So if anyone does stop by the hub today, students have the opportunity to interact with representatives from Johnson & Johnson. There's a photo booth. We had planned 15 representatives. I'm not sure if the snow made some people deterred some people from showing, but we definitely have a few people here that are more than happy and willing to talk to students. And it's a great opportunity for students to connect with alumni that cared about Thon while they were students and also care about it now as Johnson & Johnson employees. The last aspect of our Giving Tuesday event is the social media engagement. We have 2 social media challenges, one on Instagram and one on Facebook. These are to help spread awareness about Thon and Thon's mission. And there's crediting opportunities available for students through the social media challenges as well. We wanted to highlight the Giving Tuesday impact from last year. So last year's Giving Tuesday provided 102 days of dedicated social work, 121 days of music therapy, and 682 hours of child life support for our families.
We want to highlight that Giving Tuesday is one push for fundraising for a piece of a year-long effort. Our students work year-round contributing to our support for families. We have over 400 student organizations that are fundraising for Thon, but we also have 4,000 plus committee members who are volunteering hours of their week and spending a lot of time on shift on weekend. Their sole purpose is to help with the facilitation of Thon's efforts and events. So the people that you see working the gates, the metal detectors Thon weekend, the people who are next to the dancers, making sure that they have everything that they need to stand for 46 hours for our families. They're spending hours of their week already this year in preparation, getting education about their specific roles and about Thon as a whole. And then we have a lot of different events throughout the year to build excitement and understanding of different aspects of Thon, whether that's days like today, which focus on the fundraising and our financial impact. In a week, we have our family carnival event. That's really a day where we focus in on kids having the opportunity to be kids, and it's basically like a day-long recess, which I really love. And or our 5K event, which happened earlier this fall, which showcases the full strength of our community. We had over 5,000 attendees. Those events really showcase a bunch of different pieces that make Thon Thon, and without each one, we wouldn't have any kind of anywhere near the impact that we have.
Yeah, the last piece we wanted to highlight here is the Thon Giving Society. So as today is a day that is about fundraising and spreading our mission, we wanted to spread this as it's relatively new to Thon. So this began in 2022 as a way of recognizing, rewarding, and thanking the individual donors of Thon. As you can see, we have our tiers here on the right, and some of the benefits that donors get are really cool. There's opportunities to talk directly with leadership in Thon, as well as getting tours Thon weekend. So we just really want to make our donors feel engaged with what work is going on throughout the entire year, and not just a thank you email, but rather actual interaction with the students and volunteers that are continuing to push Thon along each year.
Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Our website, thon.org, has a lot more information about all the pieces that make up our organization. Today specifically, you can visit donate.thon.org to provide a contribution to support our Giving Tuesday efforts. But thank you so much for your time. We hope to see you in 80 days in the Bryce Jordan Center.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey and Ben, for sharing your incredible mission, and that Thon continues to show us what's possible when passion and purpose and philanthropy come together for a cause that touches so many hearts. I'm also just really inspired. Again, the 2 organizations we just heard from, these are student-run organizations here at Penn State. These folks are leading us through incredible causes and just doing a tremendous job of bringing our communities together. And so I'm continually impressed by the work that our students do here at Penn State and beyond. But again, as Jeffrey and Ben shared, if you would like to support Thon today or throughout the year, please visit donate.thon.org to check out what they have going on. Our final presentation today highlights a fund that makes an immediate difference in the lives of students facing unforeseen challenges. The Student Emergency Fund provides critical assistance to those experiencing unexpected financial hardship, helping them stay on track personally and academically. Please welcome Leanne Lenz, Senior Associate Director with Student Care and Advocacy, who will share more about the campaign and its impact.
Thank you, Greta, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leanne Lenz. I'm the Senior Associate Director in Penn State's Office of Student Care and Advocacy. Student Care and Advocacy is here to support students who are going through any kind of unexpected challenge. And a lot of times those challenges are related to finances and access to basic needs. And that allows us to administer the Student Emergency Fund to students. So students experiencing an unexpected financial crisis may be eligible to receive student emergency funds. It's available for students at any campus. So we do work with a network of case managers, both here at University Park, as well as all of the Commonwealth campuses, World Campus, and so all students have access. It's really a last resort option to prevent any kind of significant crisis for a student. So we'll talk through some scenarios in a bit, but this is a fund that's here to help students stay enrolled in school, help them to continue to meet their goals because they don't have another option to help provide those resources. The Student Emergency Fund is always issued alongside a wide variety of other supportive resources to help the student sustain their basic needs moving forward. So we provide a lot of different resources so that while we're helping to resolve one immediate crisis, the student has access and a strategy to providing for themselves. And we really like to empower students to be able to do that long into the future. The Student Emergency Fund is issued in partnership with the Office of Student Aid and the Bursar. One of the really special things about our centralized Student Emergency Fund is that if a student has a balance on their Penn State account, the emergency funds will actually bypass that balance and go directly to the student's bank account or will be issued to them via check. A lot of emergency funds that are held by different colleges or held by campuses, while we're very happy that those also exist, and sometimes that comes into play, we also have trouble sometimes getting the funds directly into the students' hands because it goes to pay whatever balance they have on their bill. So this one student emergency fund, which is available for students across the university, allows them to receive those funds even if they have that small balance that maybe they're waiting for financial aid to help cover moving forward. So I did just want to highlight some of the unique challenges that students are facing this academic year. We did do a census survey a couple of years ago that demonstrated that students have a lot of food insecurity and other basic needs insecurities, and we are engaged in a survey right now to get some more solid data. But I know from the students that we work with that there are many who are struggling right now because of this year's state budget delays. The Pennsylvania state budget was approved, but there are actually still many, many students who are waiting to receive their state grants that have not come through yet. Students rely on that oftentimes to pay for their groceries, to pay for their rent. And without that, they are finding themselves in a lot of trouble. And so the Student Emergency Fund has been very helpful to these students. We also see students who are struggling because of the suspension in SNAP benefits that happened earlier this year. We see some others who are relying on federal grants that haven't come through yet. So there is a significant challenge this year and compared to the last couple of previous years. And I do like to put up Maslow's hierarchy here when I'm talking about basic needs, because the Student Emergency Fund is here to help with those bottom two levels of need that students and that all people experience. Students cannot really engage and in their academics. They can't really learn. They can't really get involved fully in the activities and organizations that they want to get involved in, or really focus on anything else when they're struggling to access basic needs. So if a student is afraid they're about to be evicted, or they don't have a home, or they're wondering where their next meal is going to come from, it's really impossible to reach their full potential as a student here at Penn State. And that's what we're trying to remedy by being able to offer student emergency funds. So a few common scenarios. I made these slides last week, but actually just yesterday, I got a thank you response from a student who met this first scenario exactly. He was a student who is an international student, didn't have dental insurance. A lot of our international students don't don't understand the way that the dental services and insurances work here, which is understandable because there's really not very much coverage. This student had an abscessed tooth, was struggling in very severe pain, and had no money to get it resolved. So the student was able to access student emergency funds, as well as, work to come up with any other funds that they could on their own to package it together and get that issue resolved. So they were able to get the treatment that they needed. And yeah, just yesterday I had that student come in and say that they were so grateful that they were able to get that resolved now, because with a few weeks left in the semester, they're able to kind of recover some of the loss that they had from the pain that they've been going through. We also have students often who miss work due to illness and maybe can't make rent. I have a more thorough story to share with you on that in a bit. Another example might be a graduate student who has limited stipend and they have an unexpected medical bill. Then, they pay the medical bill and then they can't afford things like groceries or other essential items. And then again, I mentioned delays in student aid that often leave students without any funds to provide for those essential needs. This just shows a bit about the last couple of years and how much we have distributed to students across the university. You can see in 2023 that it is higher. That is when we were still kind of recovering from COVID. And of course, the needs were a lot higher during the COVID shutdowns and took some time to recover. It went down a bit in 2024. And this last academic year, so that's for the 24-25 academic year, we issued $110,000 across the university. And this next slide just shows how many students were impacted by that. So this past year, it was 191 students who received emergency funds that really helped to prevent them from some more severe crises. So in order to access the Student Emergency Fund, students would meet with a case manager through Student Care and Advocacy. And there's a very simple way that students can get connected. The Basic Needs Request Form, which is on our website and is distributed broadly, is available for students or for others to make a referral about a student that they're concerned about. And what happens is all of those requests actually come across my desk. So I get to review each one of those requests and then connect that student with the case manager who's most appropriate for them, because that case manager would know all the resources available. So if a student fills out that form and they are at the Abington campus, I would receive it and then connect them with a case manager at the Abington campus, or any other student at any one of the campuses or programs. We want to make sure that the student has access to resources in their area, in their college, in their campus. So we make sure that they get connected. They would meet with a case manager, and what we're really happy to provide is holistic case management. So when a student is accessing the Student Emergency Fund, I think it's important for donors and for everyone to know that students aren't just being provided those funds and kind of sent along their way. We're really taking a look at what their needs are. So if a student comes to us initially because they're experiencing food insecurity, we're not just going to leave it at that. We know that if a student's experiencing food insecurity, they're likely struggling in other ways as well. So we would check in with them about their academics, about their friendships and social life. We would check in with them about how things are in their family, just really anything that might be going on in their life. So we look at them as a whole person, and then we're providing resources and referrals to many different organizations or different units within the Penn State Student Affairs, or anything that might be available to the student to help them sustain themselves moving forward. We provide a lot of guidance and coaching, so we always aim to empower the student. So again, we might give them the funds from the Student Emergency Fund, which really helps a lot. But in addition to that, we're pairing it with a lot of support, guidance, coaching. We check in with them after they're provided with these resources to make sure they were able to make the connection and make sure that their needs are met. And we find that that really helps students to kind of thrive moving forward, rather than just solving that problem and then maybe not having the tools to prevent it from happening again. We want to equip the student with the tools. This just shows a quick slide. I'm sorry, the font is a little bit small there, but our top issues of concern. So our mission in student care and advocacy is extremely broad. But if you look at all the different presenting concerns, you see academic at the top, yes. But if you look at the next few, you can see food insecurity, access and affordability, housing insecurity, and basic needs other. Those are the different categories. So if we added those all up, it really truly is basic needs and securities that are the most pressing issues among students who reach out to our office for support. As I mentioned, we do equip students with additional resources, so we're always reserving that student emergency fund as a last resort. We have access to emergency dining dollars that we can issue, so that's funded by our Swipe Out Hunger program. Students contributing funds to a bucket of money that then can be accessed by other students who have a need. We have an academic materials program that's funded by a Barnes & Noble grant, so that helps with books and other resources like that. And then we also partner with the Penn State Library to be able to issue semester-long laptop loans. So typically when you borrow from the library, it's a much shorter loan, but with a referral from our student care case managers, the library is willing to issue a computer for a longer period of time. So again, those emergency funds are critical, but we also make sure that students are accessing other resources that are available to them. So those might be community resources. We refer to organizations, nonprofits, local government organizations to provide support when they can. We refer students to other campus resources such as the food pantry, student legal services. We often, actually always, when we are issuing student emergency funds, follow up with a referral to the Sokolov-Miller Family Financial and Life Skills Center so students can help, or so they can help students learn a little bit more about how to prevent financial crisis moving forward and how to budget. And then we also help students enroll in federal benefits whenever that's something they might qualify for. So I shared a couple of examples of students who might receive student emergency funds, but I just kind of wanted to end on kind of a more thorough story. So this is Jordan's story. I did change the student's name, but this is a real scenario of somebody that we worked with fairly recently this fall. And before I share this story, I do want to acknowledge that there are students who just yesterday, I heard from a student who had a house fire and they lost everything, and they lived with their family at a Commonwealth campus that they attended. And that's student emergency funds are really critical in those times for sure. But in addition to that, we see some scenarios more commonly. And this story is a pretty common scenario of a student who we were really grateful that we were able to help with student emergency funds. So this student they're a third-year student. This was just this past September. They were in their second year living off campus. They had been able to pay their rent entirely on their own and had a plan to do so. She worked 2 jobs. One was a federal work study program where she got a few hours a week. And then she also worked downtown at a restaurant as a server a couple of nights a week, maybe 2 or 3 nights a week. So she had a pretty tight schedule, a pretty tight budget, but was able to make it work. And we see a lot of students who are kind of just barely getting by in that way. Then late in September, she got really sick. And a lot of times, and some of us can relate to this probably as well, you just don't feel like you have time to be sick and maybe kind of put things off as far as getting treatment or seeing the doctor. And by the time that she did get to the doctor, she had already missed classes. She had already kind of gotten to a point where she needed medication and really needed some rest. Ended up having to go to urgent care, ended up with some medical bills, and because she needed medications as well. And that really drained the savings that she had, while in addition, she wasn't able to work for a couple of weeks. So suddenly she was recovering from this illness. She had gotten really behind in classes. She had bills that she was struggling to pay and just kind of felt like things were falling apart. And that's when she was talking to one of her employers, her on-campus employer, who referred her to our office. And we were able to connect with Jordan, learn all about this, and then provide some resources. So we were able to provide student emergency funds to help pay her rent. She was starting to get late fees, and it was because of having to pay those medical bills and lost income from not being able to work. But we didn't just help with that student emergency fund. That was a critical piece, and we're so grateful to have that. But what was paired with that was additional coaching on how to connect with faculty, how to, talk to professors about getting some deadline extensions and things like that. We actually were able to help her apply for SNAP benefits, and she was eligible. So now she's getting ongoing support for groceries every single month. We also provided some resources on free meals and other pantries available both in the community and on the Penn State campus. And then she was able to really get back into, stable footing. We also provided that resource for the Financial and Life Skills Center so that she could talk with an expert on how to prevent this from happening, how to come up with her own emergency fund. So it's really a moment where we were able to provide some education and empowerment for the student. And the student really did reflect on us, with us, by saying that, yes, the emergency funds were really important and critical. And it just felt so good knowing that somebody was there to support her and that there are others. And we do share with students always that the funds that we're providing through Student Emergency Funds are donor funds. It's not Penn State's money. It's money that's provided because there are a lot of alumni and others out there who care about students and who want to see them thrive. So we're always grateful to be able to share that. And that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Leanne, thank you so much for your presentation and for the important work that you do to support students when they need it most. Perhaps this is a fund that's not as familiar to folks here as the first two campaigns that we heard about, but it's incredible to learn about the breadth and depth of the way that the office is supporting students across the Commonwealth. So again, if you would like to support the Student Emergency Fund, please visit givingtuesday.psu.edu and find their campaign under the Student Wellness and Life Skills category, or by utilizing the search feature. So again, thank you to all of our presenters for sharing your work. We now have a few minutes for any questions. So as a reminder to any of those in the audience, if you have a specific question for any of our presenters, please submit it to the Q&A through the Q&A feature on the webinar, and we will answer as many as we can here in the last few minutes that we have remaining. But I am going to kick it off here. I'd like to direct a question to Allie. You talked about moving on being a really big part of the student experience for decades here at Penn State. So what was it that has, just recently inspired this idea of creating an endowment to honor student leaders?
Yeah, of course. The reason that Moving On has been around for as long as it has been is because of the very students who are behind the scenes creating the event each year. Every aspect of our festival, like I said earlier, building it from the ground up, both literally and figuratively, is because of the work and passion of our students. Members of Moving On don't just dedicate their time, talent, and energy for profit or prestige, but they do it for the very students who attend the festival and for the excitement and support that the festival has been able to receive for the past 51 years. So that is why we wanted to create this scholarship, is to give back to our students, because we recognize the time, the energy, and the dedication that is put into the event each year. And it only made sense for us to start being able to give back to our students via a scholarship so that they can reach their aspirations and goals.
Great. Thank you, Allie. Well, we certainly hope that Giving Tuesday is a great kickstart towards that last $25,000 that you're looking to raise for the scholarship. Our next question here is for Ben and Jeffrey. Can you share a story or moment from your preparations and planning from this year, perhaps from one of the families that you're working with, or a dancer that has really captured, the reason as to why you're doing the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so I'll share a story that was told to me by someone who was on the executive committee last year. So her name was Emily Granito. She was our hospitality director. And during some of the last few hours of Thon Weekend, we have our family hour. And one of the videos that plays is it's called Where Are They Now? And shows some of the kids who have beat cancer or are still in treatment, where they were when they first were diagnosed versus where they are now. And Emily was, understandably moved to tears by this presentation. She was looking up and saw the name Devin Pulaski, who's one of the Four Diamonds and Thon children, and She was standing there on the floor and felt a couple of little arms hug her around her legs, and she looks down, and Devin Pulaski herself is giving Emily a hug and supporting her, and in a moment where the entire arena of 13, 15,000 plus are there to support kids like Devin. Devin is giving that back to the students who are volunteering their time to beat childhood cancer. So I remember that being a very powerful story. And then on a similar vein, there are two individuals, Derek and Amy Nesbitt. Their son William had passed due to cancer, and they, that's obviously the worst thing that two parents can go through. And Derek and Amy have since then spent a lot of time talking to Thon students and sharing their story and sharing their appreciation for what Penn State students who volunteer their time for Thon provide to families like theirs. And one quote that Derek always says is, "Whatever life gives you, give more back." And I think something that was really cool for me is when I was evaluating applications for this year's executive committee, two of the folks who ultimately were selected opened their application with that quote. And I think that just like really shows you how powerful the words of the families that we serve are, and how much they mean to us in our fueling our efforts.
Incredible. Well, I'm sure that you could fill an entire webinar with stories like that. And so I thank you for picking out a few to share with our audience here today, and wish you the best of luck with your Giving Tuesday efforts here today as well.
Yeah.
Leanne, a final question here for you. Can you talk a little bit about how the need for emergency assistance has evolved over the past few years? I know that you talked a little bit about kind of the needs being a little bit different with the pandemic, but just kind of what are some of the trends that you continue to see for students?
Sure. Yeah, we do see the needs changing over time. I think a lot of what we see here at University Park is challenges related to the cost of housing. A lot of us who live here ourselves as well know that off-campus housing is really pricey. So while students who don't have a whole lot of financial resources are coming to Penn State, they may be those who are looking for those apartments that are a little farther off campus, because then they're more affordable, but then they're struggling with transportation to get to campus. So the off-campus housing market in general has been a challenge. So we're definitely seeing increased need. I'd say a lot more need for housing support than for food, simply because there are a lot of other food resources available. We have the pantry that's available on campus. We partner with the State College Food Bank. There are pantries at every Commonwealth campus. There are also kind of mini pantries that are scattered throughout campus that are run by colleges or by different departments. And we're very, very grateful for all of that. But we see a really high level of need related to housing for sure. So we're constantly kind of looking at different potential programming to support that, but that's a large need. And then we also, again, just what's happening with the government right now and some of the programs that aren't available to students that they typically can receive. That has been a very significant and impactful event for many students, and the threats to financial aid in a lot of different ways. We don't provide support for tuition through the emergency fund, but a lot of students do rely on their financial aid to pay for their expenses related to food, housing, and healthcare. So those have been challenges as of this year.
Yeah, so many complexities to navigate. And so really, again, just grateful for the work that you're doing to help our students work through everything. Well, we are winding down here. I want to give each of our presenters one final opportunity to share how folks can support their Giving Tuesday campaign today or learn more about what they're doing. So Allie, if someone wanted to learn more about Moving On, where might they go?
So I highly suggest going to our social media page. You can follow us on Instagram at PSU Moving On. You can also find our website, www.movingon.org. We have a ton of info on there about who we are as an organization and also about our scholarship fund. All day we'll be posting stuff, whether it be testimonials or additional information, how we're doing donor wise on our socials. So you can keep up with that, see how we're doing. And yeah, I highly suggest donating, whether it's anything big or small, it is going to go directly back to our students. And that's the biggest thing I would want any donor to know.
Great. Thanks, Allie. Jeffrey and Ben, if folks wanted to learn more about Thon or to make a gift today, where should they go?
Yeah, to learn more about our organization, you can go to thon.org or visit any of our social media pages. Biggest one is Penn State Thon on Instagram. And to make a contribution today, you can visit donate.thon.org. It's right on the screen there.
And Leanne, how might folks learn a little bit more about the Student Emergency Fund or the work that you do in student care and advocacy?
So if I haven't mentioned it, Student Care and Advocacy is a unit of Penn State Student Affairs. So at the Penn State Student Affairs website, you can look at the Student Care and Advocacy page to learn more. And I would just like to say that contributions of any size are welcome and impactful. Normally the gifts to students or the awards go in an amount not much more than $500. So that $500 can make a huge difference for one student. But this event on Giving Tuesday is our biggest campaign of the year. We get the biggest number of donations, and so we really rely on it heavily and really appreciate the support. So thank you very much.
Well, folks, these are some, just a few amazing examples of how generosity drives change at Penn State. And we've mentioned it a couple times. There's over 200 campaigns that are participating here at Penn State for Giving Tuesday. So if you haven't had a chance to look through things, I certainly encourage you to do so. You can visit givingtuesday.psu.edu to browse the campaigns that are across all of our colleges and campuses. And you can visit donate.thon.org to support Thon's incredible year-round mission. If you haven't already, as they've all asked so kindly, please consider a gift today. And if you already have given, thank you so much for your support. But please know that you can continue to make a difference in helping today be a success by spreading the word to the Penn Staters in your lives and letting them know that they can make a difference on Giving Tuesday. With more than $250,000 in special giving challenges waiting to be unlocked or matched, in over 200 campaigns, there really is a way for everyone to support their passion and make a difference with a gift as simple as $5. So to close, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, for being a part of Giving Tuesday at Penn State. Whether you supported a campaign, shared a post, or simply joined for our conversation today, you are contributing to something much bigger, a day that unites Penn Staters everywhere in generosity and impact. Thank you again for spending part of your Giving Tuesday with us. For those in central Pennsylvania, stay safe and warm with the winter weather, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. We are
Penn
Penn
State.
State.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.